Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I am your host, Lonnie Jones. My wife Jackie and I moved to the city of Huntsville in 1986 for me to be a youth and family minister. I have been a minister since 1980. I have served in this community as a police chaplain assigned to a SWAT team since 1992, and I've been in private practice as a licensed professional counselor since 1998. I'm also an adventure educator and an avid outdoorsman. I dabble in rock climbing and I goof around with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Our life has been full of many wonderful experiences and some just outright adventures. I used to write about those things in a little church bulletin article. So now instead of asking you to read those things, we're just going to talk about them in our podcast. And as we talk about them, we're going to talk about the facts. The facts lead to concepts, and the concepts lead to application. One caveat about the facts is, for the most part, we're going to tell you the facts just as they happened. But every now and then, we're going to tell you the way other people have told us they remember it happening with a little bit of embellishment. It's all good, clean fun and for educational purposes. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy Keeping Up with Jones. When I was a little boy, I attended the Faulkner University lectureships. Our preacher, Charles Box, took me and my brother down there. I sat in the balcony of the rotunda. I hung my feet over the edge and propped my chin on the middle rail of the guardrail. This year, there will be the 80th annual Faulkner University lectureships, and they'll be addressing different aspects of what the New Testament teaches on grace. There will be 91 speakers from 10 different states, and there are also some special seminars. There'll be a campus ministry workshop, a digital ministry workshop, a homeschooling seminar. They will address some various aspects of sexual ethics. There'll also be a special athletics seminar called Pursuing the Imperishable, the Athlete's Focus in Christ, and this will feature two-time NBA champion Norris Cole. If you'd like more information or you'd like to register to attend this event, that is faulkner.edu/lectureship, faulkner.edu/lectureship. Faulkner University is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. Her clinical demeanor was both stoic and professional. She never even looked up from her clipboard. She just merely consulted her notes and said, "And so, Mr. Jones, how did you injure your knee?" Running from zombies. I beg your pardon. Her head came up and the professional demeanor began to slip away. She looked at me with a mixture of fear and horror and pity. No, I was running from zombies. We had a minor zombie outbreak at summer camp, and they got between me and the flamethrower. And typically, the flamethrower is my second way to deal with zombies. It's a surefire way, no pun intended, to deal with that little problem. I usually prefer a tomahawk. A machine gun is good, but a tomahawk won't jam, to quote a famous author. Now, it's interesting that the actual problem with my knee didn't really come from real zombies. I was running from make-believe zombies. Zombies aren't real, you know. Although based on the latent response time behind the counter at Taco Bell, one might wonder. See, I was running from a bunch of kids pretending to be zombies. They'd invented this game. Basically, it was tag, but tag based on zombies. So if you're it and you tag somebody, they become an it with you, and then you get the multiplying effect of the zombie outbreak. And so I was running from a bunch of kids pretending to be zombies. I moved through a door. I left the tile floor and moved onto the carpet. The friction coefficient changed, and my foot stuck. My leg moved, my foot didn't, and the medial meniscus in my knee was torn. So running from avoiding a make-believe problem can create real-life long-term difficulties. And in fact, that one choice at summer camp The decision that I would take the zombie threat as real and run from them has interfered with working out, walking, running, climbing, and Sunday afternoon football. I took the real problem, the fact that I had done something to my knee, and pretended it was no big deal. And halfway into a run, while I was speaking in Pensacola, the meniscus shifted, and I had to actually limp or hobble back to my hotel room. Maybe make believe should not be the right term. Maybe we should move that term into something called a negative fantasy. You see, this is where we take a course of action, or we avoid a course of action based on what might happen rather than what should happen. We often create unrealistic scenarios about how other people will respond or react, or what circumstances might unfold. And during those evasive maneuvers, running from imagined fears, we end up really hurting ourselves or others. You see, if the zombies catch you at camp, what happens? I'm not sure. The zombies didn't catch me. I still outran them with my wounded knee. But since they aren't real zombies, and most of them are junior high students, the actual potential for harm is probably pretty low. By running willy-nilly from them as if one's life depended on it, you can tear your knee up. Avoiding actions or choosing actions based on unrealistic thoughts, unrealistic fears, or even doubts is a major critical mistake in the decision-making process. We often let this fear of what might happen or what could happen keep us from, or cause us to avoid, stopping something that should be stopped or initiating something that should be started. Now, I'm not saying that we should not give thought as to what might happen. We should have the ability to project, if this, then this. But those thoughts, the if this, then this, they need to be based in realistic probabilities and realistic scenarios. The difference between is this possible and is this probable is a discussion I have with people who suffer from anxiety disorders, phobias, and particularly people struggling with OCD. You see, when a person struggles with an anxiety disorder or a phobia or obsessive compulsive disorder, they have a marked difference in that normal, realistic fear. And what happens is it takes them past those first level of realistic consequences. And the clinical manifestation of OCD and phobias is that the fears that we have always catastrophize the event. It's not just, if I do this, this will happen. If I don't do this, this will happen. If this happens, the other thing will happen. It becomes a minor consequence, spreads like a zombie apocalypse. Oh, I have to avoid germs. If I get a germ, it leads to an infection, and that infection would make me patient zero, and I spread that disease so that it becomes a pandemic, and we destroy the world. If I confront you, if I call you out on some inconsistency or ask you to change your behavior, you'll hate me. And then our friends will have to take sides. And then they will side with you, and I'll end up dying alone. Dr. Jerry Harvey, in his famous work, The Abilene Paradox, says it's not that we have problems disagreeing in America, we have problems agreeing. People who shouldn't get married get married. People who shouldn't get divorced. We have a problem speaking up and saying, hey, this isn't going to work. Hey, this is a bad idea. I don't think this is a good plan, because of the zombie fear that if I say this, these catastrophized consequences will follow up. People avoid doing things that they should do, and people don't stand up to things that shouldn't happen because they feel like, if I'm the person who speaks up, then I'll lose my job, I'll lose my friends, I won't get the promotion, we'll hurt somebody's feelings. Literally, in his discussion of the Abilene Paradox, or the zombie phenomenon, as I call it, somebody will say, hey, this couple, realizes, hey, they shouldn't get married. But if we call off the wedding, what are we going to do with all the gifts we got at the shower? We'll have to return all these gifts, and what a hassle that will be. And Aunt Martha's never flown, and if we cancel the wedding, then Aunt Martha will never be able to ride a plane again. Well, Aunt Martha, flying is way different than you living in a miserable relationship that shouldn't happen in the first place. Failing to confront, failing to set limits, failing to ask, failing to speak up or stand up because of false fears keeps good, rational people from acting, and it allows evil to prosper. Choices to do or not to do should be made based on who we are. Choices to do or not to do should be based on what we are and not based on any consequence, real or imagined. In almost all of the New Testament teachings on interpersonal relationships, the burden for initiation of action is placed on us, and the consequences, the reactions of others, is rarely even considered. If there's unfinished business, if your brother sins against you, you go and tell your brother. If you bring your gift to the altar and remember your brother has something against you, it doesn't say your brother has a legitimate concern. It doesn't say that your brother has a clue. It just simply says there's unfinished business. You leave your gift at the altar and go see your brother. If it is possible, as much as it depends on you, live at peace with all men. See, those are pretty clear instructions that we should not let the fear of awkwardness, the fear of having to admit we were wrong, the fear of potential embarrassment, or the fear of some imagined consequence keep us from doing that which is consistent with our calling and our character. In the zombie incident, I was avoiding a fake problem and ended up creating something very, very real. You can avoid something that is real because of unrealistic reasons. You can avoid something that is real because of unrealistic outcomes or consequences created by your imagination and end up doing more harm than you can possibly imagine. The mission of Heritage Christian University is simple. They aim to advance the churches of Christ by equipping servants through undergraduate and graduate programs. Heritage Christian University produces effective communicators of the gospel, focusing on evangelism and a commitment to Scripture. Heritage Christian University is accredited by the Association for Biblical Higher Education and offers the following degrees: Associate of Arts in Biblical Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Studies, Master of Arts, Master of Ministry, and Master of Divinity. Since 1968, Heritage Christian University, formerly International Bible College, has offered affordable degrees in biblical studies, allowing graduates to thrive in their ministries without the burden of loan debt after graduation. For more information about Heritage Christian University, visit www.hcu.edu. That's 3 W's and a dot, hcu.edu. Heritage Christian University is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707. 615-371-8707, or you can go to 3 W's and a dot, worldchristian.org, find the donate here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.